Hi dears, welcome to my channel. Today we are discussing an important chapter of 10th standard, that is Heredity. Very important chapter, and if you know the concepts very well, it will be very easy for you to score marks. Okay. Now in detail we are learning about heredity. I have parted the lesson into two, part A and part B. In part A, reproduction, heredity, then acquired traits, inherited traits, Mendel's experiment, and up to rule of heredity we are discussing. Shall we start the lesson quickly? What do you understand from this term heredity? Heredity means from generation to generation. So what is the first thing which we have to discuss? That is reproduction. Reproduction leads to generation, isn't it? So what is reproduction, ma? Quickly say what is reproduction. To say from 5th standard itself we are learning a reproduction. What is reproduction, ma? In order to ensure the continuation of their species in the earth, living organisms undergo reproduction. Means what? They produce the offsprings of their own kind. That is reproduction, isn't it, ma? It is of two types, ma. Sexual as well as asexual. Everything you know. Asexual reproduction is by smaller organisms. To say microorganisms, unicellular organisms undergo asexual reproduction. There only one individual is participating. In the case of sexual reproduction, what happens? Two individuals are participating, and what happens? There also offsprings are produced. Are the offspring similar to parent? Yes. In the case of asexual reproduction, the offsprings will be identical to the parents, but in the case of sexual reproduction, the offsprings will not be identical to parents. They will be having almost same similarities of that of parents, isn't it? So what the thing is happening is the traits or the characters are passing from parents to offsprings, isn't it? To say an Indian man married to an Indian woman. The Indian man is having almost black hair, isn't it? And the woman also will be having black hair. The child's hair should be obviously black in color, isn't it? Means what? Father is having black hair and mother is having black hair and the child is having black hair. So the character of the father and the character of the mother is transferred to what? To the child, and the child is having the same trait of that of parents. Trait or characters are passed from generation to generation. It is called what, ma? It is called heredity. That is the trait or characters which are passing from the parents to the offsprings is called what, ma? It is called heredity. Okay, heredity you understood. Now about the variation. What is mean by variation? Now we can say the same parents and the same child. The child will not be having same characteristic of that of father. Or he will not be having the same exact copy of characteristic of that of mother. He is having a certain characters which these parents are not having, isn't it? So this is called what, ma? This is the variation. That is difference in the characters of the offspring from that of their parents is called what, ma? This is variation. Is the variation more for sexual reproduction or for asexual reproduction? It will be more for the sexual reproduction. Why? Because the two individuals are participating. Here, in the case of asexual reproduction, only one individual is participating. So, variation is very less for asexual reproduction, while the variation is more for sexual reproduction. Okay. So, the branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variation is called what, ma? It is called genetics. It is called what, ma? It is genetics. It's a big branch of biology, and we are just starting what is genetics and how the heredity is followed. What are the rules of heredity? Now, again a question is arising. Is the variation good or bad? The variations are absolutely good. For what? For survival in the environment. For example, I can say mosquitoes. In the olden times, mosquitoes were much more. In the olden times, there is no equipment for killing the mosquitoes, isn't it? Then, after a long time, man invented mosquito coil. So what happens when the mosquito coil came? Many mosquitoes died. But still there were some mosquitoes which were not affected by this mosquito coil. Then what happens? Man then invented a new thing, that is mosquito liquid. It is much more powerful than this mosquito coil. For that also many mosquitoes died. But still there were one or two types of mosquitoes which was able to overcome this mosquito liquid. Okay. So they existed again. So these are what? Variations. These are the variations of this. Because of this variation, mosquitoes are still surviving in our environment. Okay. So these variations leads to evolution. 7 million years ago, human and chimpanzees have the common ancestors. But evolution happens, and now humans are entirely different from their ancestors, isn't it? So because of these variations, evolutions occur. So these variations are definitely good to survive in this environment, and the variation also helps for the evolution. Now we are going to learn about the traits or characters which the offsprings are having from their parents. The traits are of two types, that is inherited traits and acquired traits. What is this inherited trait? The trait which is continuing from generation to generation is called what, ma? This is inherited traits. And acquired trait is the one which is not continuing from generation to generation, and the individual is acquiring it while he is in the environment or he is surviving in this environment. This is what, ma? Acquired trait. Okay, can you say an example for the inherited trait? Yes, we can say about the black hair. Black hair is inherited trait. Means what? I am having this black hair because my parents are having black hair. Okay, and my forefathers are also having black hair. That's why I am having this black hair. This is what, ma? Inherited trait. Okay, so this trait passed from generation to generation. Will it change along with the environmental factors? No. If I am going to some other foreign countries where people are having white hair, will my hair color automatically change to white? No, isn't it? So this is not affected by the environment. Okay, these inherited traits are not affected by the environment. And am I having this black hair from the birth itself? Yes. When I was a baby, from that time itself, my hair's color was black. Okay, so this inherited traits we are acquiring from the birth itself. Okay, and it may leads to evolution also. Okay, and my generation, next generations will be having this black hair for sure, because I am having this black hair. So it may leads to evolution. So can you name some examples other than this black hair? Yes, we can say brown eyes of the person and the skin color. All these are inherited traits. So what about the acquired traits? The traits which we are acquiring by ourselves. For example, if a man is a bodybuilder, will his baby from birth itself is a bodybuilder? No. Because the man is acquiring this bodybuilding, isn't it? With a lot of effort, and by changing his diet and by doing vigorous exercise, he is getting this bodybuilding, isn't it? But is it inherited to his baby? No. His child can be or cannot be a bodybuilder. If he is acquiring this bodybuilding, he will be having. Otherwise, he will not be having it. Okay. So these acquired traits are not transferred from generation to generation, and it will not be acquiring from birth. The baby is not a bodybuilder in its birth itself, isn't it? And the third point is, it will not lead to an evolution. It will not be leading for the evolution, and it will be affected more by the environmental factors. Or a person who is knowing 7 languages, he is acquiring by himself, isn't it? If the surrounding people know some other languages, he will be also learning that language for himself, isn't it? So this is the acquired traits are the one which he is acquiring by himself. Okay, so the difference between these two traits are clear for you, I think. Dears, now we are going to see some important terminologies which we are needed in this lesson for the further knowledge of the lesson. Okay, the first one is gene. What is gene? Gene is the one which are having characters in it. Okay, we have said no, brown eyes, black hair. These are what characters, single characters. These are present in gene. Okay, this is called what, ma? Genes. Where the genes will be present? The genes will be present in DNA strands. Have you seen the DNA strands? In the DNA strands, these genes are present and genes are located. So to say a human cell is having DNA. DNA strand is almost 2 meters long. Okay, in each DNA strands there will be almost 20 to 25,000 genes of special characters. And where the DNA will be? The DNA will be inside the nucleus. Where the nucleus is present in cell. And where the cell is present from the top to the bottom of our body. There will be millions of cells in our human body, and in millions of each cells there will be nucleus, and inside this nucleus there will be chromosomes, and chromosomes contains DNA. So what is this chromosomes? This long stranded DNAs are coiled and they are cut and they will be joined to form chromosomes. Each cell will be having 46 chromosomes, or we can say 23 pair of chromosomes are present in each cell. Okay, this is about the chromosomes. A cell, this is maybe the cell, and cell contains nucleus, and in the nucleus chromosomes will be present in this manner. Why? Why the chromosomes are in pair? Why? The reason is I am getting my character from my father as well as from my mother. One chromosome strand or one DNA strand is from my father and another DNA strand is from my mother. That's why I am having two strand, or we can say diploid condition of chromosomes are present. That is diploid. Diploid condition of chromosomes are present in each cell. One from father and one from mother. Okay, this is the chromosome number. So how many chromosomes are present in each cell? 46 chromosomes, or 23 pairs of chromosomes are present. And the division is by, division of the cell happens, right? The division is by mitosis division. You have learned from 7th standard itself. Mitosis cell division and meiosis cell division. Now tell me where the meiosis cell division takes place. Meiosis cell division is taking place in reproductive cells. So in the reproductive cells, that is sperms in the case of male and ovum in the case of female, they will be having haploid set of chromosomes. That is, single pair will be present for each chromosomes in the case of reproductive cells, and in the rest all other cells they will be having diploid condition of chromosomes will be present. Okay, up to this extent is it clear? Now we are saying about the allele. What is this allele? Now I am considering. Okay, this is father and this is mother. Here I have drawn. See, okay, this is mother and this is father. Okay, from father I am saying some specialties. Father is tall. Okay, mother is short. Father is having black hair. Mother is also having black hair. Okay, father is left-hander. Mother is right-hander. Okay, father is having brown eyes. Mother is having black eyes. Okay, this is the specialty. Now I am saying father is having some differences from the mother, at the same time some similarities to the mother. Okay, and now the child is born. Okay, for the child, genes are of two types. As I told you, in a cell, diploid condition of chromosomes are present. So for the baby, he will be having the tall character of the father as well as short character of the mother in his cell. Okay, so alternate form of gene is what? Allele. Means what? Two types of forms. In the case of tallness and shortness, two types. It can be, the child can be tall or the child can be short. So we are saying it as allele. What we are saying? We are saying it as allele. Means the alleles means characters which can be same or which may be different. So this is what allele. Tallness and shortness is the two alleles, which is okay. Now I am considering the baby. Will the baby, when he become an individual, will he be tall or will he be short? It is depending on the dominant allele and recessive allele. Sometimes the baby may be tall or sometimes he may be short. How can we say? Because of the which gene is dominant or which allele is dominant, accordingly the baby will be having that character. Okay, this is the dominance and recessive. Dominant allele is decided, while recessive allele is not expressed out. Dominant allele is the one which will be expressed out, while recessive allele is the one which will not be expressed out or which will be hiding inside. Now the next term is homozygous and heterozygous. What is homozygous or pure form? That is, in the case of baby, we can say black hair is common for father as well as mother. So in the case of black hair, there is no competition, isn't it? Black hair, whatever it is, the hair will be black because father is having black hair, mother is also having black hair. So the child's hair will be always obviously black. There is no competition for the dominant allele and the recessive allele. So we can say it is homozygous, that is the pure form. It will be, the child will be having black hair for sure. And heterozygous is what, ma? It is the hybrid form. Hybrid form means, here as I told you, this baby can be tall. And if the baby is tall, he is having shortness in him. But it is hiding inside. So it will be hiding inside. So we can say it is heterozygous. It is the hybrid form. His tallness is expressed out, but later on, the later generation can be short also. Okay, the later generation can be short also because he is having the hybrid one. That is, tallness is expressed, whereas it is dominant one, it is expressed out, while the shortness is also there with him and it is recessive one. So this will be the hybrid, or we can say this is heterozygous. So, but in the case of black hair, it is homozygous because always your father is also having black hair and the mother is also having black hair. So the child will be obviously having black hair and there is no competition going inside. So it is a pure form, that is homozygous, while tallness and shortness is the heterozygous one. Is it clear? These are the important terms. Now we should know how the characters are transferred from one generation to the another generation. For that, there are some rules which are said to be rules of heredity or rules of inheritance. Who proposed it? It was by Mendel. His full name was Gregor Johann Mendel. He was a biologist and he was the father of a Catholic church, and he proposed it by doing experiments for years, many years. To say from 1856 to 1863, he did experiments on pea plant and he found how the heredity or the lineage is transferred from one generation to the another generation. What did he do? He did experiment on the pea plant, or we can say the biological name of it is Pisum sativum. Why he has taken the pea plant for this experiment? This question is very important and it used to be asked for your public exam. Actually, he chose pea plant for his experiment because of many reasons. It is a short living plant, means it's an annual plant. Within 1 year, its full cycle will be come to an end. Okay, so it's an annual plant is the first reason. And second is, it will be having various allelic characters. To say 7 allelic characters can be seen by in this pea plant. Okay. The third reason is, it is having the choice of self-fertilization as well as cross-fertilization. What is the self-fertilization and cross-fertilization? Cross-fertilization means this crossing or the fertilization is happening between two different plants. That is cross-fertilization. And self-fertilization is within one plant itself, the fertilization happens. This is self-fertilization. So these two possibilities are there in pea plant. That's why he has taken. And the fourth and important point is, it gives a large number of offsprings. Okay. So these are the 4 points. First, it is short-lived or it can be said as annual plant. Second one, it is having 7 allelic characters. And the third one here, self-fertilization and cross-fertilization can be done. And the fourth important point is, it will give rise to large number of offsprings. Okay. What are the 7 allelic characters? 7 allelic characters in this dominant trait as well as recessive trait are present in pea plant. Okay. First, about the seed's shape. If it is round, it is dominant, and if it is wrinkled, it is recessive. Then seed color. If it is yellow, it is dominant, and if it is green, it is recessive. Okay. Pod shape, when it is inflated, that's dominant, and constricted, recessive. Then pod color. If it is green, dominant, yellow, recessive. Flower color, if it is purple, it is dominant, and white, it will be recessive. And flower location, if it is in axial position, it is dominant, and if it is terminal position, it is recessive. As well as plant size, if it is tall, it is dominant, and if it is dwarf, it is recessive. So the characters, 7 allelic characters. Now if you are writing all these points, you will get full marks. Okay. Now what did he do with this pea plant? Now we are going to see the experiment. What did he do is, he had done 2 experiments. One is monohybrid type and the second is dihybrid type. What is mean by this monohybrid type? He has taken 2 plants which are having a single difference in them. Okay, that is monohybrid. So he, in the first experiment, he has taken 2 plants. First is a tall plant and the other is a dwarf plant. Okay, homozygous tall and the dwarf was homozygous dwarf. Means what? As it is 2 characters, as chromosomes are in diploid condition, it will be represented as TT, capital T for the homozygous tall plant and small t for the homozygous dwarf plant. Okay. Then what did he do? He had taken the gametes. The gametes has to be taken for fusing, isn't it? So for the fertilization, gametes has to be taken. For the gametes, we know it is by meiosis cell division the gametes are produced. So they will be having haploid condition of chromosomes. So what will be the chromosome? It will be having the gene capital T. Okay. And the dwarf will be having the gene having small t. Okay. That's why only one character is exhibiting, that is capital T and small t. Then what did he do? He fused to form so the fertilization happened and a child is produced or a small plant is produced which was having capital T and small t in his nature. So is it homozygous or heterozygous in nature? It is heterozygous nature. That means it is a hybrid plant. But it exhibited tallness because dominant allele was tall. That's why the plant was tall actually. But it is having small dwarfness as its recessive character. Did you get, ma'am? Then what did he do? He made the same plant for self-pollination. First it was a cross-pollination with two different plants and he got the answer it as capital T small t. That is the next generation had dominant character as tallness but it had recessive dwarfness also in it. Okay, then what did he do? He did self-fertilization. So our FN generation plant has been self-fertilized. So the gametes will be having two characters. The tallness can be a character and the dwarfness also can be a character. So tallness and dwarfness. Here tallness and dwarfness because they have undergone self-fertilization. So what happened? Tallness become tall. Tallness and dwarfness become again tall and dwarf like this manner. Tallness and dwarfness become tall and recessive dwarf and dwarfness and dwarfness become true dwarf. So what? So he got 4 plants when he self-fertilized a single plant. So what was the character? The tallness, 3 become tall and 1 become dwarf, isn't it? 3 become tall and 1 become dwarf. So physically it is seen that 3 plants are tall and 1 plant is dwarf. So we are saying it as phenotypic ratio. That is physical appearance, based on that we are making a ratio. That is phenotypic ratio. It was what? 3:1. 3 tall is to 1 dwarf. Okay. But genetically what is the change? We will see. Genetically we can say tallness or homozygous tall or pure tall is 1 only. Okay. This is 1. And homozygous dwarf, that is small t, it is also 1 only. And that other 2 are not homozygous, they are heterozygous, that is they are hybrid plants. They are 2. Okay. So what is the ratio? What is the genotypic ratio? Genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. 1 means pure tall and 2 means hybrid plant, hybrid tall, and 1 means a pure dwarf. So this is the genotypic ratio. If in your question paper, if they are asking monohybrid explanation, you have to compulsorily write about the phenotypic ratio as well as genotypic ratio. Okay, ma'am? So it will be genotypically 1:2:1 and phenotypically it is 3:1. Did you get, ma'am? This is how he got for the monohybrid plant. Now, he understood many things. He had to know much more things. So he took dihybrid plant. That means 2 differences between parents are there and he crossed them. And what is the result he had to find out, and he found the result. What did he do? He took 2 differences between 2 plants. That is, for the seeds he chose the difference. First one, monohybrid, he took the tallness, and in the dihybrid he took the seed color and seed shape. Seed color yellow and round is taken and he crossed it with green and wrinkled. We know the dominant character was yellow and round and the recessive character was green and wrinkled, isn't it? So he crossed pure yellow round plant with pure green wrinkled plant. So what happened? So gametes will be what? Yellow round, YR, and small y small r are the 2 gametes, and then he crossed and he got the answer as capital Y small y capital R small r. Means what? It is a hybrid plant, isn't it? What did he got for the first generation? For the first generation, he got yellow round seeds. but it was a hybrid plant which is having green and wrinkled seeds in its recessive trait. Okay, it is recessive but it is hidden, and it which is expressed out yellow and round seeds are expressed out. Okay, it was the first generation. What did he do? And then he self-fertilized the F1 generation. So how many possibilities of the gametes can be? There are 4 possibilities of the gametes. That is, the gametes can have capital Y, that means yellow and round seeds. Gametes can have yellow and wrinkled seeds. They can have green and round seeds and green and wrinkled seeds. These are the 4 characters. And here also 4 characters he has written and then crossed. So what happened? For the self-fertilization, he got 16 plants. Okay, 16 types of plants we can say. And what are the specialities of the 16 types of plants? By the bullet square, it will be easy for you to write it. And you will get the ratio of phenotypic ratio. That is 9:3:3:1. Means what? Yellow rounded seeded plants are of 9 types. Yellow wrinkled seeded plants are of 3 types. Then green round seeded plants of 3 types and green wrinkled seeded plant is of 1 type. But the genotypic ratio, you know, it is 1:2:2:1:4:2:1:2:1. This is the genotypic ratio. Okay, so these are the things which he found out when he crossed dihybrid plant. Okay, Mendel has concluded many things. What you are understanding from this? Is there anything which is based on your life here? We may say, no, your eyes is just like your grandmother's eyes. Or if a child is a left-hander, we may say his grandmother is left-hander or his grandfather was left-hander and he is again left-hander. How is that trait coming to him? Here, see ma, for the monohybrid, there was a dwarf plant, isn't it? There was a dwarf plant. For the first generation, this dwarfness was not visible. That plant was tall only. But for the second generation, this dwarfness exhibited. Did you get ma? In the same manner, if your grandmother or grandfather was left-hander, for the next generation of them, that is your father's generation, may not be having left-hander, but you are having the left-handing. Okay, like that, this heritage, or to say the inheritance, is transferred from generation to generation. Who concluded it? Mendel concluded it. That's why Mendel is called what? Mendel was considered to be the father of modern genetics because of this experiment which he has conducted and the 3 laws which he said. What are the laws which he had concluded? The laws are here. He made 3 laws which are said to be Mendel's law of inheritance. What are these laws? We will see. First one is law of dominance. The law of dominance says if the alleles are heterozygous, the dominant gene or the dominant allele will be expressed out. We can say in the case of monohybrid cross, we have seen that capital T small t was the first generation. F1 generation was capital T small t. It is having 2 alleles. One was tallness and the one was dwarfness. But the tallness was expressed out, right? Why? Because it was the dominant one. This dominant one will be expressed out compared to the dwarfness, or which is the recessive one. So the allele which is expressed out will be the dominant one. It was the first law. Okay. Second law, law of segregation. During gamete formation, copies segregate. Each gamete receives 1 allele. We know there are in all cells the chromosomes are diploid in nature. That is, 2 sets of chromosomes together will become a pair, isn't it? Which will be the copy, one will be the copy of the other and they will join to form a pair. If a pair of chromosomes will be present. But in the case of gamete formation, among these, one will be taken, isn't it? So, in the case of tallness, for the monohybrid cross, from that itself, he found the second law also. Tallness and dwarfness was the 2 traits. And when the gamete is formed, what was the gamete? It was tallness. And for it was dwarfness. So, during the gamete formation, from the copies, they segregate and each gamete receives only 1 allele. Only 1 allele they have received. Only 1 tallness was there and only 1 dwarfness was there. So this is what law of segregation. And the third is law of independent assortment. He made this law when he crossed or when he did experiment on the dihybrid plant. So what was it? It was an independent assortment. The allele of one character will never influence the allele of other character. That means in the dihybrid cross, it was yellow rounded seeds as the dominant one and green wrinkled seeds was the recessive one. There is no compulsory that the yellow colored seed should be always round. Okay, the allele which was yellow colored should not have always the round as its character. Okay, this is the independent assortment. One allele will never affect or influence the other allele. Okay, this is independent assortment. Yet another example is this. If a father is having black colored eye and if he is having the black colored hair, and if the mother is having brown colored eye and white colored hair, the children which are forming can have black eye with white hair, brown eye with black hair. There is no specialty that if the eye color is taken from father, the hair color should be taken from father. If there is any rule like that, no. Or if the eye color is taken from mother, the hair color should be from father. Is there any other rule? No. So that is independent assortment. One character or one allele will never influence the other allele. Okay? Yeah. So up to this extent, is it clear for you? In part B, we will discuss about the sex determination in human. Okay, we are winding now. Bye.